Good evening, I'm Sini Lato and this is Television Tonga News. In the headlines, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Tupoto'a Ulukalala officially opens a new centre for the village of Te'ekiu worth about 2 million pa'anga. Honourable Minister of Agriculture, Food, Forestry and Fisheries confirms that there is no secrecy in works carried out to a request to buy sea cucumbers during prohibited seasons, and Tonga takes the lead in the Pacific to use packaging material and cartons for packing of produce to foreign markets. These and more stories later on in the bulletin, together with a look at news from around the region, sports and world later on in the bulletin. Now take a look at the news in detail. The people of Motuapuaka in Te'ekiu conducted the official opening of the new hall despite the bad weather. His Royal Highness Crown Prince Tupoto'a Ulukalala as he officially opened Te'ekiu's newly constructed hall. Present at the special occasion was Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Sinai Takala. In his speech representing the government of Tonga, His Lordship, the Prime Minister and Minister for His Majesty's Armed Forces, Lord Tuivakano, stated that the event has highlighted the strong relationship between Tonga and the United States of America.
This new hall. The government of Tonga wishes to acknowledge and extend our most sincere gratitude and appreciation to the government of the United States of America for their continuing support and assistance to the government and the people of Tonga. Today, I acknowledge all the assistance provided by the Pacific Partnership 2013, which of course contributes to the development of the country, and most of all, enhance the friendly relationship between our two nations. To the U.S. Navy CPs, Malo Aupito to you all for all the hard works in building and facilitating the Te'ekiu Community Hall that we all witnessed today.
Meanwhile, the Chief of Defence, Brigadier General Tauaikau Ta'atu, in a speech explained the long years of negotiations with its American counterpart in Hawaii, requesting to build Te'ekiu's Community Hall and Evacuation Centre. He said the negotiations and the request to build the hall started in 1987.
Finally, in 2011, during our Chief of Defence Annual Conference in Hawaii, I had an opportunity to have a bilateral talks with Admiral Robert Willett, the commander of the Pacific Command at the time in Hawaii. Through these bilateral talks, we discussed various security issues, including the Te'ekiu project. In the discussion of the Te'ekiu project, I gave Admiral Robert Willett a long history of this project. His response was short and sweet. He asked me a question which was as follows, and I quote, "Did we promise?" I advised him, "You not only promised, but the village twice conducted a feast to celebrate the approval of the project." The Admiral turned around to his staff and directed them, "Make it happen." And that was it.
While addressing the gathering, Chief of Mission at the United States Embassy in Suva, Jeffrey Robertson, said the project has enabled the soldiers who took part in the construction work to learn from each other's culture.
America greatly benefits from the contribution of the some 57,000 Tongans living in the United States. The Te'ekiu Community Hall is a great centerpiece for this community. But the true value of this hall is as a disaster relief center for the people of the surrounding area. This hall is all the more timely and significant in light of the recent and terrible disaster of the cyclone that struck the Hapai Group. This solidly built, resilient structure, capable of weathering the most challenging of future storms, represents the strength of the long-standing relationship between the people of Tonga and the people of the United States.
The newly constructed Halaipulotu Motuapuaka Hall is 120 feet long and 50 feet in width. It's worth about 2 million pa'anga. The construction work was carried out by members of the United States Army and His Majesty's Armed Forces for about 6 months. Other guests officiating at the event involved Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and some of the Ministers of the Crown, Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, Lord Fafanua, some members of Parliament, representatives from the American Armed Forces, and the people of Te'ekiu, amongst many other guests. Minister of Finance and National Planning is still in the process of negotiation with Tanoa Hotel Group about the future of the Dateline International Hotel. The Minister of Finance and National Planning, Honourable Dr. Aisake Valweke, told Radio Tonga News and Television Tonga News that the outcome of their negotiations in regards to the International Dateline Hotel with the Tanoa Hotel Group will be submitted to the Cabinet for its perusal and approval before they can finalise it. Dr. Ike says that representatives from Tanoa Group were here in Nuku'alofa as part of the negotiations on what's next about the Dateline International Hotel. Tanoa Hotel Group also own a hotel in different islands in the region, including Fiji and New Zealand. Dateline International Hotel was once run by an Asian company before it was returned to the government in November 2012 under the care of the Minister of Finance and National Planning. The Honourable Minister of Agriculture, Food, Forestry and Fisheries, Sengsta Saulala, has confirmed that there is no secrecy in works carried out to request made by an owner of a restaurant to buy sea cucumber during prohibited season. Linda Filiai with the details.
Speaking to Television Tonga News, the Honourable Minister of Agriculture, Food, Forestries and Fisheries denied the allegation that there is no secrecy work carried out to the request from an owner of the restaurant to buy sea cucumber during prohibited season. The minister said the letter that he had sent to the owner of the restaurant, it was his response to a request for a permit to buy sea cucumbers from local fishermen. According to the minister, the letter means that they can only buy the normal sea cucumber that is allowed for fishermen to fish at all times. There was no secrecy in the letter of response to the request made by the owner of the restaurant, as it went through the same procedures. It is the same response to such requests from the public. Many restaurants have made the same request and same answer was given to them. The Honourable Minister also spoke more about the regulation used by their ministry in regards to the fishing of sea cucumber. At the moment, fishing and exporting of sea cucumber is forbidden by the law. There are types of sea cucumbers that are allowed in the law in regards to fishing of those type at any times. It includes curryfish, snakefish and chalkfish. The law aims to protect the marine organisms for the people of Tonga. However, when we received the request from the owner of the restaurant, we then informed them to buy the sea cucumber from local fish markets and even those women who are selling them along the roadsides. The decision was based on the ministry regulation concerning the fishing of sea cucumber, but I think some people misinterpret that decision. The minister has also clarified that the letter of response stating that it is important to refrain from sending notices through media, it was meant for the restaurant not to make public notices regarding their needs to buy sea cucumbers, as the public may misinterpret the information. He said he did not ask to stop informing the media regarding the issue as mentioned in one of the newspapers. According to the Honourable Minister, they will continue working on their plan to farm the sea cucumber in Tonga, whereas China has agreed to fund the project.
Tonga takes the lead in the Pacific to use proper packaging material and cartons for packing of produce to foreign markets. Newly designed cartons or boxes for exporting of agricultural products to overseas markets were officially launched this morning by the Honourable Minister of Commerce, Tourism and Labour, Dr. Viliami Waske-Latu. It was held at the Dateline Hotel, and Anasio Falegano was there and filed this report.
The assistance was made by AusAid through the Pacific Horticultural and Agricultural Market Access Program, known as FARMA. The First Secretary of the Australian High Commission in Tonga, Mr. Scott McLennan, presented the assistance to the Commerce Minister. In Dr. Latu's keynote speech, he highlighted how this assistance will help improve the export services in Tonga, which in turn will help boost the economy.
Packaging has been identified as key constraints in exporting of Tonga's products to the formal export markets. This was clearly highlighted through key strategy papers including the National Export Strategy, the recently come and endorsed Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Strategy, and the draft Private Sector Development Strategies of 2012. These strategies emphasized the need for Tonga to meet basic key market requirements in the areas of packaging and labeling. Lack of proper packaging limits Tonga's competitiveness in key markets and thus has withheld us Tonga from exporting to formal and established markets such as supermarkets and formal retail points in major market destinations such as New Zealand, Australia, and the United States.
One of the local exporters from the Lotopoha Export, Lupe Galton, shares that this has been a dream come true for her and her business.
The newly designed cartons launch will definitely make a difference in how we export the agricultural products from Tonga. It has always been a dream, but the collaborative efforts of interested parties who are here this morning have made this dream come true. Thank you, and we wish that similar projects or necessary equipment which we can share when needed to meet specifications for orders from markets in New Zealand and Australia would be possible also in the near future. This will give us the opportunity to more markets ensured of quality products from Tonga.
Meanwhile, an officer from the Tourism and Trade Industry Division, David Alautaha, emphasized the importance for all the local exporters to collaborate and to use wisely this assistance in exporting of their produce. He says the benefit will be for the country as a whole, but once a carton or a box will be wrecked due to the produce inside, not only will affect the image of local exporters, but the produce also. He also adds that the cartons and packaging materials are available for all local exports.
Jaw Shipping, the agency for the MT Teresa, has been given 2 weeks to clear the vessel's debts and legal issues before the full payment be made by Friendly Island Shipping Agency. In a press conference this morning, the chairman of the board, Dapu Panuve, says the debts includes more than 20,000 ba'anga owed to the Ports Authority Department. Linda Filiai with more on that story.
The acquisition of the MT Teresa is approximately more than 1.3 million pa'anga. The aim of the purchase is to facilitate cargoes to the outer islands and also the agricultural products imported to neighboring country. Only 12 passengers are allowed to be on board the vessel. Last week, we signed an agreement with Jaw Shipping purchasing the MT Teresa. We deposited 10% and given 2 weeks for them to clear all debts and other issues about the vessel before the rest of the money paid. Mr. Panuve says the vessel was registered by Vanuatu Pacific Royal Shipping Group Limited and Jaw Shipping is their agency in the kingdom. According to Panuve, a successful due diligence exercise was conducted by FISA with an independent surveyor from Auckland Dunsford Marine and a DNV class surveyor with Tongan Maritime Authority. Panuve elaborated more on how to finance the passage. We are still working with the bank for a loan to passage this vessel. We know that this vessel can repay the loans on its services. MT Teresa will be given a new name next week before it resumes its usual services next month.
The people of Tonga should work for their living instead of relying on imported goods. The issue was raised in a meeting between the Tonga Community Development Trust and representatives from the Australian and New Zealand's Rotary, aiming to encourage the Tongans to work for their living instead of relying on imported goods. Here's Salamo Fulivai with the report.
The Deputy Director of the Tonga Community Development Trust, Papiloa Bloomfield Foliaki, told Radio Tonga News that everyone should work for their living by using whatever resources available in the country without depending on foreign food products.